obviously, since you're listening or watching this podcast, you like TTRPGs. That's safe to assume, correct? Right? You're not just here, like, wondering why you're here. Well, lucky for you, the wonderful crew at Soul Muppet have you covered on simple yet elegantly designed games like Orbital Blues, Paint the Town Red, and their very successful Kickstarted project, Doom Spiral. With Soul Muppets games, you can tell stories that are unconventional, atmospheric, and above all else, unashamedly political. You can use my link down below to pick up some of the free quick start guides for their games, or if you're ready to dive right in, that same link will get you to the store to buy the full editions. Thank you to Soul Muppet for partnering with us, and I hope we can tell some really amazing stories soon. If you want to learn more about the games and the crew behind them, you can go to soulmuppet.co.uk. Hello and welcome back to After the Table, a TTRPG podcast. 'Tis I, your favorite weirdo and captain of this ship, just this one right here, Shelly Von Miller. Y'all, we are 4 episodes away from the season finale of this podcast. Like, 3 seasons. We're 4 episodes away from that. That's fucking weird to think about. And then I start season 4 already. Oh god, I'm not freaking out, you're freaking out. This episode we are joined by streamer and one of the advisors for Twitch's Tabletop Creator Club, professional GM, and my plug for Voodoo Ranger at any con I go to. Welcome to the table, Captain Robear. Hello!
And hello. Thank you for having me, Shelly.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing. I always appreciate people who are like, yeah, I'll come on. I don't mind. Let's do this.
I am always honored, and my friends are always a yes. As long as I can book it outside of playing with my nephews, I'm good to go.
You're good. But yeah, for those who might not know who you are, let the people know.
Yeah, so I'm Captain Robear over here on the wild internet with everybody else. I joined during the pandemic as well. During this, making it a full-time career out of necessity. I spent 2 decades in the bar business in the hometown that I grew up in, a small, sleepy college town in between St. Louis and Memphis, and I had to figure out my way as a storyteller and find an online platform. Wild journey to get here in the first place, but I'm very, very, very lucky, very fortunate that a lot of things happened all at once so that a storyteller like me could find a place out on the internet so I could exist and try to survive in the wide world that is 2026.
You being in the bar industry explains so fucking much. It explains so fucking much already. I'm like, oh, you know what? Yep. All right.
You understand how I need to do what I do now in hotel lobbies because I miss it so much, because I know I'll never go back. I will never be behind the bar again, whether it's mine or someplace else. That ship is sailed now. But man, is there a need to wipe down tables and to make sure that everybody has a delicious beverage?
Well, speaking of ships, what's up with the fucking hat, man?
Yeah. So, not a stream gimmick. I got stuck with this in real life. Decades ago, I wore this for a bachelor party in New Orleans. It was one of my first bachelor parties. So this is very young Robear at this moment. And we have a blast, and everyone's like, well, you got to wear that captain's hat during the actual wedding. Well, I started meeting people and making business connections in my local area, starting at that wedding, that wedding party. And people would come back to my establishment because I've been in the bar business since I turned 21. So people would come back and be like, hey, where's the captain at? As they met me. Because it's way easy to remember than my actual name or Robear or anything else. So I got stuck with this in real life because I wore it one weekend and then it fused to my brain. And people would get so upset if I didn't have it. So I'm like, I had to take the dumb hat that I took off of my family's pontoon and fuse it to my head for all these years. And to this day, I get to moisturize my head constantly from having to wear this thing.
A polyester hat just keeping your head nice and warm and toasty.
Let me tell you what, there's a big difference from the cheapest party hat to the mid-tier. Yeah. And I have a particular one that I buy because, man, that front strip right there, I'm a big dude. I'm a sweater, and these conventions are absolutely balmy.
Yes. That and like you're keeping that hat business afloat every time you get a new one.
Really.
If it ever goes out of stock or gets discontinued,
dude, I'm going to Etsy and having somebody just custom it at this point. That's where I would go. There's not as many of the hats as people think, though. This is the only, we are on generation 9. Because for the longest time, I wouldn't have to wear them for like 12 straight hours. I could put it on and like take it off. And like, I really only had to worry about individuals trying to take my hat at that point. Now it's more of, oh dear God, this thing needs to be retired. I can't wash this anymore.
You're like the Mr. Clean magic eraser ain't getting this out.
There's no recovery.
I can imagine you wearing that at the bar and some drunk just reaching over the bar to grab it off your head.
You know what? Drunks not nearly as bad as bridesmaids. they're a different kind of drunk.
Yeah, they're different. Woo!
Yeah. And then I'm like, I try to tell everybody, you don't want this. You don't want this. As much as excitement as you want, this thing has like 50 pounds of sweat in it. It is disgusting. Do not take the hat.
Well, on to a serious note, whatever you want to call it.
Serious is gonna be.
Yeah. What's your origin story whenever it comes to TTRPGs?
Man, so I go back to AD&D and Boy Scouts, and we're not playing AD&D. We just have the pamphlet, and we have the pictures, and we're inspired. There's a lot of rainy campouts back here in the Heartland, Upland South area. So you get real acquainted, and it goes right hand in hand because you're learning to tell stories. That is innately our own in our human DNA. All of us have that. So that's manifesting at an early age. But if there was something mechanically that was inspiring, Hero Quest. Oh man, me and my brother, we lived for those winter snow days and playing Hero Quest. And we basically kind of shared the DMing roles with it. He was 5 years older, so he would be naturally more inclined, but we would both just want to be surprised. And we would want to play together because we grew up playing Gauntlet at the arcade. Classic simultaneous RPG, co-op, couch co-op life. So Hero Quest, and to this day, that's what I have working with my nephews. Because it's easy, and it's funny, we've kind of come back full circle because it's a deck builder at the heart, because you just kind of have your cards. It makes it very easy to do what you do. Love that. And that really helped usher that fantasy tabletop for me and help foster it. I didn't come back around until 5E post-college, because I try to tell people, as a Xennial, being born in 84, I come up with this grade of technology where it goes, EverQuest, Dark Age of Camelot, World of Warcraft. Our experience with video games gets really good. And we kind of take this tabletop break because we're getting a lot of the satisfaction of playing with other people in these MMORPGs. So and life is getting very busy, and you're going through college and you're just not meeting up and playing board games like you used to. Because, oh my God, high school, what we had nothing but time to play board games and do stuff. So it transitions, and I don't come back to it until way, way later in life when I'm like, oh man, yeah, I want to do something more advanced than Heroes Quest with my friends. Let's see what state D&D is in. And that's when I hop on 5th edition, and it couldn't have been an easier transition.
Oh yeah, I think 5th edition, despite what people think, is the easiest way to get people into TTRPGs and the easiest way to like teach people to play D&D. I've taken on the role of like teaching people how to play.
Yep.
In most of my like paid games, I'm like, "Oh, you've never played D&D before? You never played a TTRPG? Sweet. All right. Let's talk about, and go through the list and everything.
Advantage,
like that.
disadvantage changed the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because it took away crazy hovering modifiers that were trying to be a simulation and simplified it. Now, when you want more, you get excited about those modifiers. Before, it used to be super overbearing. So, like, once you ease in and you're like, okay, I want a more Pathfinder-style game, it's there. There's other games that are out there.
Oh, yeah.
But, man,
if you want Pathfinder, go play Pathfinder 2e. Like,
yeah, you can have all the hovering modifiers you want.
I'm a big fan of Dragonbane. Dragonbane's a good one. I like it. But how did you move from playing to the GM chair?
Well, like I said, I was always in it. Like, if you're the one that's hosting, you're in it, and it's naturally in my DNA. Like I said, I'm hospitality, so like it doesn't affect me whatsoever. I do not have the forever GM dread. I get to have my cake and eat it too. I have always played a DMPC. I'm playing someone who is naturally support because I want to bring my friends along in the journey. So I'm not doing something proactive that's on the map. I'm completely responding to how they respond. I'm trying to make sure that everybody has a good time. So I fit into that dwarven cleric trope immediately. And had always been in love with that trope in fantasy anyway. So that's just a lot of what I played. So fostering the game and being the main storyteller, which what it is at heart, I've always been. So it wasn't a big deal. I didn't have to go out and search. Like, unfortunately, a lot of people, the hardest thing, the biggest question we get in content creations, how I play D&D, and it's like, man, it is for you to have the fulfilling moment that you want to, it is a lifelong journey of finding like-minded people that you love and can invest in and tell stories with. And there's no easy way to get there. You just have to kind of start and put yourself out there. And it's hard, but I love seeing when someone comes in with that, and then when they come back and they say they found their first table or they found their group, it's so fulfilling to see that.
Well, on that fulfillment, what advice would you give to GMs who are wanting to, or like players who want to take up the GM mantle, or GMs who are wanting to move into like a more professional setting?
Oh man, think less, play more. It's reps. It's reps. There's nothing, this world is not that crazy. To be good at things, you have to do them a bunch, and you have to become brutally self-aware with yourself about what you're good at and what you're not. And remember that if you can only get 10% better at the thing that you're bad at, then you need to come to terms with what is acceptable for you at that level, and then double down with what you're good at. I'm an improver. I rely on that. I lean on it. I make sure I don't get bogged down because creative writing is slow for me. It's a much slower process than me, improving a world and building it that way. So I don't beat myself up that I'm not Brandon Sanderson. Oh my gosh. He's getting to me right now. I don't beat myself up that I'm not Brandon Sanderson.
He heard you through the internet and was just like, no.
Yeah, I don't beat myself up on that. I double down on what I'm good at, and my audience and people that watch me and my friends, they enjoy me for me, because that is me. That is authentic me turned up to 11 or 12. So that's what I suggest you do, and you just need to do it. On the internet, we try to min-max, and I've started using, since everything is maxing now, since all the kids are saying maxing, I am making the turn, quit think maxing. We sit there, you can burn 3 or 4 days trying to determine what is best for you down this rabbit hole, when what was best was to just do. You need to be the engine of do. That is what's going to take you from point A to point B, where you need to be. And you're going to make those mistakes along the way, and you need to learn to love yourself and not beat yourself up, and learn through that pathway. So there's a lot of personal reflection inside of this gig that's going to take you from that point. But you can do it, but you just have to do.
Yeah, that's why I say my GM notes are there to say I did work. They're there to be like, I have the track. If my players stay on it, they will. If they get too out of bounds, I'm gonna just, what they do in video games, just pick you up and put you back in.
The Mario Kart style, right back on the Rainbow Road.
Let's go. No.
Yeah.
Stay within the bounds. That's too far.
And that's the art. It's putting them back in bounds and making them love it. That you've done it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Brandon Sanderson, hopefully he doesn't force choke any of us now. Cosmere RPG is coming out, or is in beta or closed beta now or something like that. Are you thinking about dabbling into that, or?
Man, those for folks, those are the most intimidating things, I think, for GMs. Whenever I play something that's in Middle Earth, or we do something that's in some, like if you do a Star Wars RPG, because people have expectations of what their canon world is, and you have to do so much work to find out what version of that world they want, because you can make infinite multiverses of this and not satisfy what your players are wanting to try to get out of it. There's a big difference between playing small world, like Tatooine style Mandalorian Western versus big time space opera that you can go to. So for me, those are crazy time investments. And I'll be honest, I am a babe in the woods to his world. I'm just going through Stormlight Archive now as a fan. Somehow unspoiled, by the way, which I love. I don't know how I made it.
Easy. I think it's easy because a lot of people are like, no, you have to enjoy this.
Yeah.
We're not going to mention anything. You have
There's that big time fan base. And I have said it before. They already have their convention. They already have their people. If there's something that is going to grow bigger than the zeitgeist of D&D, it's Cosmere, because of how self-built and insulated this massive community is. And now it's only going to get bigger with the Apple deal and people being able to jump on the train through that.
Yeah,
and
through TV.
How perfect. Final cut rights, like, let's go creators. Sanderson just did a big win for everybody. Woo! On that. I think it's awesome. I think they made the game super accessible because I'm a lover of the D20 myself, and they just kind of added a fate die to it. So I think they did a very, very smart thing.
I too have not ventured into the books yet, so I'm like, I want to, and like whenever I heard about the beta, I was like, I looked at it and I was just like, I feel like I have to read all the books in order to get this.
And there's no other way to try to consume.
Yeah.
You will you can't. You have to sit down and read the books if you want to do that. And I'm interested because I haven't actually sat down with the papers. I wonder how well they have done that of someone. If you're picking up the Cosmere for the first time, how are you downloading that universe to get the new player, the new DM, to start in their world and to feel comfortable?
Ooh,
that's a really good question. And I don't think, like, DMs, you're never going to be, but like, set your North Star. What do you ask your players, what do you want? And just like we say, session zeros, save friendship, save games, save everything. Setting the expectations there is where it would, because you're going to have to start small. There's the Cosmere, and you got to start here somewhere.
Yeah, because like you can easily, there's so many books, so you could easily, and they all, wind together, but it's one of those things. It's like, how are you going to just navigate that? And I think this system will benefit from a session zero, like a hearty session zero. Like not the quick and dirty that you get with D&D sometimes, but like the all right, this is gonna be a few hours. We're gonna take a whole day of a session zero if it's in person. It's just like, all right.
And it's kind of like what we have a group that's getting ready to play Starfinder Second Edition, and we want to get really familiar with their cosmos. And so we've taken months just to sit back and have here's our lore, and we just sit and talk about the lore in the Discord before we ever start. So it's kind of like it's putting all of our heads together with what everyone's been interested in and kind of learning it naturally, kind of like the Babel way of learning a language. This is like Babel lore. And I think that is exactly the route that you would need to go down on something so vast.
Yeah. Well, you kind of mentioned it whenever you introduced yourself, but how did you get into streaming? Because you're similar to me. You started during the pandemic. So did I. I started in 2020. And it's like one of those things. I was like, I've been making content beforehand, but I wasn't streaming. So I was just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Let me get into this boat.
I was super lucky. I was a community member. I've been a watcher since Justin TV. So I knew what was going on. I've seen this go from a hobbyist platform into a monetized platform. And I've been lucky enough. I was a big member of the Destiny video game community. And I went to what was called lovingly SweatCon, our GCX1, which was in a bar in Tampa with King Gathalion, Professor Broman, Leah Loves Chief, early builders of that community. And I became friends with so many people in the industry that have gone from community members into streaming or kept streaming. So when it came time to get into this crazy world, I had some kind of mentors there that knew me, that had seen me, and like I could ask a question to and be like, hey, what do the books look like? Okay, it's a giant crazy pie that shrinks and morphs. Oh, I get that. I understand this business model. It made it a lot easier that I entered as an adult. I think it's a crazy world to try to kind of figure out your finances here in this kind of business where it's a big feast or famine in a lot of ways. And it makes it easier when you're at that time in your life where you have a bit more self-discipline and control and understand your business self. And like, it was a much easier transition, and also it's easy to learn when you don't have anywhere else to go. And like, I was coming to terms with the fact that like, oh my God, my life, my literal identity of being Robear back behind the bar, maybe completely over. And I shut down the first day of lockdown. I said it's over because we're in a college town. Our main demographic of 24 to 30 went home for 2 years. I would have done, I literally, my audience was gone. And my employees were even more important. Those are the people who worked at my establishment. Those employees were gone. So, it's an easy way to be like, hey man, the boats are burned. So like, you need to figure out what, like, making something that isn't soul crushing. Because I worked in hospitality and distribution side of beer, and we're like, all of this is being made into hand sanitizer right now. What is it you're going to do? Because this may never come back online, especially when we didn't know whether this was going to be The Last of Us or whether this was just going to be a handful of months or a year. So like, it was a, make peace with what was out there. And luckily, my hobby allowed me to be able to flourish. It wasn't like, oh man, I got to figure all this out. I'm like, well, I'm playing video games anyway. Like, this is like, we're all just vibing, hanging out on webcams together. I'm like, I've done this. I grew up in TeamSpeak, like in Ventrilo. So,
I did not grow up in that, but I did grow up in AOL chat rooms. So.
Yeah. Oh man, I go so far back. Jinko Jean's web chat room.
Yes. Yeah.
I never even owned a pair of Jinko jeans, but it was such a big zeitgeist.
I did. I owned Jinkos.
My mother would never pay for that. It was Lee's. It was Lee's and Wranglers on discount.
At Walmart? At Walmart? Lee's and Wranglers on discount at Walmart. My mom worked at Walmart for a very long time, so a lot of my clothes came from Walmart, or she made them. because she worked at, for a while, she worked at the fabric department at Walmart. And whenever
fabric departments, that's when you know you're an OG.
I would, whenever I was sick or on spring break and my mom couldn't afford a babysitter, I was working at Walmart. As a 10-year-old, just what up? But yeah, it's one of those things. Same with me. I started streaming. I had already, like I said, I'd already been making content.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I had a food and beverage blog, so I know about the. The thing is I had never been in the food industry, but I was working customer service, and so like after hours, after closing the store, I always hung out at the bar.
I miss. There's so many things I miss from the bar business, but you will never know the feeling of the alliance of Monday nights with retail and hospitality together. I loved bartending because I could let all my employees go, and it is everybody who's been unfairly treated the entire week is letting loose on the same night. Ugh. Yeah, I miss it. Anytime
I closed I worked at Urban Outfitters. Anytime I closed the store, there were a few places that I would go to. There was a beer bar that I used to go to on the north side of Houston. I would love to go there, but driving there is a pain in the ass because I don't live on that side of town anymore. But love them. They knew me. The owners knew me. I was constantly there. I was also in university at the time, so I was like writing papers. Just literally writing papers, closing the bar, like getting drunk.
I miss that so much. You learn so much about people like that.
Fancy restaurant that had a good bar and like a good bartending staff that I would just go to. That was right by the mall. Or there was a restaurant that had a bar that stayed open late, and I was just like, "What up?" I forever loved going and doing food blog stuff because one, you just get to hang out with food people and bar people. It's just like, hey, what's up?
And I don't know if you experienced this, but I always say that I was a child of Anthony Bourdain, of that. Like that was that kitchen anarcho-punkist, like we will all stick together and make it through this with hospitality kind of vibe, and then traveling the world and being that empath of soaking up culture while having a shared experience. That was a big thing for me. That was always kind of like, that was our North Star when I got into the business. Like, this is what I love. Like, this feels, it feels right.
I feel like Anthony just opened a lot of, like, a lot of millennials' minds, like Gen Xers, millennials' minds about what the world is as opposed to what the world was told to them. Yeah. And, like, more people were willing to kind of go out of the way and kind of just imbibe different things, literally imbibe different things.
Yeah, you can gain a lot of empathy by sitting down at somebody else's table and sharing a meal, and he understood the power of that. That's what changes people's opinions and lives. I'm a firm believer by that. We're all a better place by sitting down and sharing a meal with each other.
And like, he is a storyteller.
Yeah.
He's a chef and a storyteller, which is similar to TTRPGs.
Yep.
So it's one of those things, and one of the things that a lot of people do at a TTRPG table, whether they make the food or order the food out, it's eating foods, telling stories, and just having a good time. Were TTRPGs always in your content sphere, or was that something that you eventually got into?
No, because I knew I wanted to get there, but I knew I couldn't start there. Because when you think of it, we as far as, actual play and TTRPG content, about the games, we are already a niche of a niche. And then if you are relying on actual play, you're relying on a whole host of other people to actually, herd the cats and show up. And then when you do show up, you have this 3 to 4 hour window when you're there. So all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm a terrestrial TV show on the internet when people are now living the VOD life, it couldn't be harder for you to launch a content creation career by doing that. So when I got in, I knew I needed to get my, first core group of viewers to go anywhere. So I started playing Sea of Thieves on Mixer. And that was an easy one. Oh, look, I got a captain's hat on.
Oh, Mixer. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah. So, thankfully it was there. There are a bunch of crazy things that people don't know that weren't, if you weren't a content creator on Mixer that you didn't know, guys with top deals were making a lot of money, but people who were baby streamers and coming in for the first time were making a lot of money. They were making job replacement money because they were incentivizing it. It was an insane time to start content creation there, because you could just all of a sudden replace your job at an early stage because of the money that they were distributing through their platform between incentives. So you could a lot of people unfortunately got a false sense of entitlement through that, and it became very difficult for them when they had the hard realization of, oh God, I have to go over to the purple monster and I'm not established in any of these directories, nor am I large enough. Because Mixer, you could be the big fish in a small pond in these different directories. I use that time in Sea of Thieves to enjoy playing co-op, which, you're basically starting like a D&D like experience because you're playing with other people, you're enjoying. At that point, you're just trying to show, hey, this is my personality. Do you want to hang out? Is this, an enjoyment factor? So the game, being mechanics light, allowed you to sit back, listen to music, be a pirate, and have a good time. I was able to make my first small little pile of viewers. I met friends on the internet that way. Eventually, I asked those friends to play D&D with me. That starts the first D&D game that's on the channel. You go from one D&D game to being like, people are loving this, it's successful, to starting the second one. Then I become the D&D guy on Mixer, and I'm starting to then leverage that as to brands, and it's starting to become an actual career within it. So there's always these stepping stones in content creation that is, how do I get from that point A to point B? And man, is it different for everybody at any time when you start? It's very difficult to be like, this is the thing that I love and this is what I start with, because you have to face the mathematics of getting in front of people. And unfortunately, we live in a time where there are ways of hacking attention that are the dark arts that you probably aren't comfortable with. And you have to find out what you are comfortable with and make peace with the fact that everyone else is going to do maybe morally what you think is disgusting to move ahead, but you aren't in their situation. You'll never know. Everybody's got to do what they need to do to eat. And you need to really just, you can have those opinions, and by God, do I have them. But at the end of the day, you are not these people. You don't know the path that they walk. You probably feel differently if you walked a day in their shoes. And that comes with age and experience. And you realize, like, okay, man, this is just it. I need to run my own race. This is not Mario Kart. This is a time trial with me. And you need to figure out what works for you in getting there. But, that is a long journey in the content creation business that we just are always learning. There is no point. We don't get to any end point. We all continue to stand on Mount Stupid forever. We're just trying to figure things out.
I'm constantly saluting towards Mount Stupid because, I mean, sometimes stupid pays, but also, like, what's the other thing? Like, this is no offense to people who offer workshops or like online courses to get into, content creation. It's not as cookie cutter as people think. You could take those courses and spend that money and allegedly get those numbers, but I feel like
so much more life to life than all of that.
Yeah.
There's just so much more.
It's like, you can chase the numbers all you want, but it's great to look at them, but don't don't pay attention too much, because trust me, as somebody who's been making content since 2008, kids, 2008, I'm an old bitch by this point. Everything has changed since the old times of YouTube and OG Instagram and way back Twitter and everything.
You really just have to think of yourself now as, this is like going to Nashville and, you know, everyone's talented. This is like going to LA. Everyone's talented. It's not, there is no...
Everyone has a shtick.
Yeah. The gods haven't blessed you. Like, you are, you may be disgustingly talented, but there is so much more to getting to where you want to be that just involves a serious amount of either discipline, luck, and RNG and life. You just, don't beat yourself up over it. Learn that life is all about the journey and not the destination, and you'll get over it real quick. Also, let's just put it this way. Even though you're not a big streamer or like content creator, you're someone's favorite content creator. You're someone's favorite comfort streamer. You're somebody that they'll put you on while they're eating dinner. Or like, I found so many streamers because I was joining. Funny enough, I had been on Twitch before because of WoW. Because back in the day, kids, back in the day, WoW had plugins that you get from Twitch and CurseForge that were connected. Yes, I played WoW back when. And I had a Twitch account with my WoW name, and I was just like, oh, I remember this. And you had to have RIP this thing. I wish Twitch never got rid of this. RIP the Twitch desktop app. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's where you would get the plugins from to put into WoW and everything.
People don't know pre-drops. Most D&D folks don't know that old D&D Beyond is the bones of old Curse, because it was them down in where they were in Alabama. They're all in Huntsville, the craziest place. Huntsville, Alabama.
It doesn't make it. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to them, but Huntsville's not, I mean, it's got a lot of stuff there. And so it's just weird
you think Alabama, and then you go, oh, NASA.
Yeah. And like, Huntsville, Alabama's not that far from a lot of military bases. And so...
Yeah.
A lot of people just want to make their WoW experience while they're on, after hours of being in the military, just like, I gotta make this easy. I gotta get through this raid real quick. I can't see that well. I need hearing things like, warning. Oh God. I could talk about old, I realized about Twitch after the fact. I was like, oh, I don't really know about this. And I made this account, my account that I have now, and started streaming in 2020. Woo! Woo! Oh, I think one of my first streams was WoW, too, which is hilarious. So,
hey, you knew you could sit there and play hours of it. You were already doing it.
Yeah, might as well. Okay, so I mean, we talked about this a little bit. You mentioned VODs. Yes. A lot of people in the VOD scene, because YouTube, a lot of people upload their VODs or like edited content. So I've had conversations with two different types of people. The first type is they don't necessarily like whenever people just replay their content that they already have. Especially if they're like a partner or like they have like a VOD channel that they just, replay a lot of things. And then there's the second camp, which is like, take advantage of it. Twitch has it. Twitch is owned by Amazon. Take advantage of it. Yeah. Get their money however you want. And like, it's basically the same thing as uploading a VOD up to YouTube. So, you're just, it's on Twitch where people are already at. I'm on the camp of, who fucking cares? It's your content. Do whatever you want. Like, yeah. What do you think about that conversation on both sides?
So in actual play, in TTRPG, very different than us talking about, let's say, the Valorant directory. The Valorant directory is massive and has tons of people in it, and most people are never seen. So when you go and you have a community like that, because I was a part of the Destiny community, a big part of what made it great back in the day was fostering the trade-off of when you left, you made sure that you were raiding back into the directory and uplifting someone else that could be seen. That's an important part of the unwritten rules of baseball, of streaming in large directories. Inside of ours, we are all on the front page. There is no, everyone who's playing D&D at the same time, we are right there. There is no, we're not hiding anybody. Everybody can be seen on that front page because what we do is so difficult and so niche that we have a very tiny directory. We go down to tens of people during the day. So there is no argument of I cannot be seen. Now, if we were larger, it would be a very different story. At that point, I would transition myself into what Co-Carnage does, where he goes into the always on directory when he is there. Because he is participating in directories where it is important to let other voices, personalities be seen. On our side, we are nowhere near being that. So I am always cognitive of looking at that because I understand those unwritten rules, but they just don't apply to us. I try to tell everybody, I think all of us should be rerunning our content all the time so our directory would move up, then we would get more eyeballs. Because right now, you are relying on essentially people to completely 100% seek you out, which is the smallest amount of your audience base you're ever going to get because they're the most motivated, or you're waiting for Critical Role to come into the directory, or High Rollers, one of the big established brands. And as their fan base comes in, if you're lucky enough to be streaming after they get done, or potentially right before, some people are going to come in and take a peek and look at your content and may remember you. So you have to play this numbers game with that. So I believe our situation is so different because me rerunning my 50 people of rerun watchers at the moment isn't stopping anyone from launching their career or keeping anyone back from having a voice. And to be honest, especially in 2026, none of your new audience is coming from that Twitch stream. It might as well be a poster slapped on top of a utility pole in the middle of downtown Chicago for your show. You have to do so much more to gain an audience these days. This is not old Twitch where you just hop on and can find an audience. So I think I think the folks, what I would say to those that are concerned or upset that we do this, I think it's a little bit of self-reflection and like, hey, you just kind of need to run your own race. Like nobody's hurting you but you. On that. And I know sometimes we need to find, something to, an outlet to let our emotions out on. I just don't think that's the one. I think you just need to kind of focus, on you and make terms with that. Like 100%.
It's not uncommon in the content creation sphere if we're talking about the whole sphere of like not just Twitch but like all the platforms, for people to recycle their content. I've seen it so many times. Yeah,
you syndicate yourself. Seinfeld makes money because it's still playing on all the channels somewhere else. And how are you going to gain an audience? This is the only way I can have an audience outside of my time zone. I would have 0 viewers in the UK if I didn't syndicate myself. Mm-hmm. I can really only run one show during the daytime, because when you think of it in our business, if it is a person who is a creator first and you want to do, let's just say it on the basis you guys are friends and you just want to play for the love of the game, you are asking them to give up their time during their prime time earning hours to play something. That is so difficult. That is such a hard ask. God, you have to really want to do it. And a lot of times when you see that, that's that streamer's off day when they're doing an AP during the middle of the day. And we love that because that's
or you make it your off day.
Yeah,
like, I'm in 2 APs and I'm like, Thursday and Saturday, my off days.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm not streaming.
100% on that.
Or if I have to host, like, one of the tables I'm at, sometimes the ST's out of town, and so I'm hosting the game on my channel.
Yep.
Because I'm the only other streamer in the group, so I'm just like, that's fine, whatever. Like, let's make it happen. Like
my video conferencing server, man, you have no, like you have no idea who could be in there at any.
You're like, I'm here.
I try to share the wealth.
Yeah. And also, like, it's one of those things, especially if you're getting into the middle of a campaign. A lot of channels, a lot of tables have been taking up the task of doing reruns to get people caught up for, like, if you're going into the finale or going into, like, halfway through the season.
Oh, God, yeah. If you play long form, absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
And that's all I do, so it's insane.
It's like, one shots, don't know her.
They're just too much work. I can only do them for charities. I will do whatever it takes for St. Jude, for anybody, for Doctors Without Borders, you name it. I'm there. But man, it is so much work for the one payoff. So the charity, I have my sense of accomplishment. We did the thing.
We got
with my friends. I'm like,
we did the thing.
What are we doing? Let's at least play 3 times. We made these characters. Let's do an arc. We need 3 to 4 is the sweet spot if you're going to do something short. And I stand by that stance. If I produce it, if I'm DMing it, we need to do 3 or 4 unless it's charity. So we really feel like we got something out of it. Because man, people don't understand how much work AP is.
Yeah.
It looks a lot easier.
Especially if you're producing it.
Yeah, if you're producing it, if you have those roles split up, hey man, kudos to you. There's some of us over here that are spinning all the plates.
I'm so tempted to get another computer just for the storage of just like, or like I've been tempted because I have a whole campaign that I'm doing. It's like 20-something, 30-something episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I could easily just, like, let's play that on my off time. Or, because I sometimes feel bad, because sometimes I'm like, guys, I'm tired. I'm tired. Let's just watch some stuff. I got, like, I have a whole YouTube. If you're on the YouTube watching this, subscribe.
Ring the bell.
Bong. But also on that conversation of rerunning stuff, Twitch has made it a lot easier, but also a lot harder to do it because they added the button for reruns, so people
Which is
know.
broke.
Oh, is it broke?
It's been broke.
Oh,
yeah, it
I
doesn't.
didn't know
It
that.
doesn't. So you click it, it doesn't show that we're on rerun on the front. It used to. It used to show up. It used to be red for live, and it would be gray for VOD.
Twitch, what the fuck, Twitch?
Dude, it's a color. They could save so much. Also, with doing that, they could have the sort. Let me sort who's live and who's rerun.
Mm-hmm.
There's
it's
so
a tag that could be easily added. You could just add the tag. But also, they got rid of a lot of people's VOD storage.
Oh,
with
yeah.
that dump. And which makes no fucking sense. Hey, Amazon, AWS, what the fuck? You could just add that support to Twitch. But there were people scrambling to download terabytes of data onto drives, and it's just like, good God, really? Like,
it just a trash tier decision making in the future of a platform. But as we know, it was never intended to be creator first. We were acquired as content creators because we had a chat interface, and that's why Amazon bought it, and they pimped it out and they sold it through AWS. It's never been because we were a creator first platform, and you just have to come to terms with that. And it's sad because if we'd been developed, we would have an ad delivery platform that people could go and spend money on without having to go to a physical person to consult to sell ads. That bottleneck is insane. So if we were there could be so many more creators that could go full time with their art if we were getting the CPMs that we got off YouTube, because we have to balance between Amazon being the better monetization platform for us when we first start out as creators, because there's more singular support that runs through it before you have to go and rely on sponsorship. So you have that kind of prop up before you move into a platform that is very much just ads and advertisement based. So if you were able to make a little bit more as a content creator, if you could just get to minimum wage as a content creator, people could focus on growing so much more efficiently. But we can go down that rabbit hole.
That's a rabbit hole. That's a panel. That's a panel at TwitchCon. For real. That's a panel at TwitchCon.
Yep.
But yeah, that's, oh my God, Twitch. Love you, but hate you all at the same time.
The great love and hate with everything you have to deal with in life.
Yep. Well, okay, on the good part of Twitch, they recently came out with the Tabletop Creator Club a couple months ago. I say recently. Look, compared to when you're getting this, we are filming this in February.
Yeah.
Only a couple months ago, we got the Tabletop Creator Club, where you're an advisor, one of the founding advisors, but you're also an advisor along with friends of the show, Cypher and Tyr and Diana of the Rose. What prompted that to come up? Because we have guilds, we have other clubs and things like that.
It's because they wanted to do it. They reached out to me, and I was super honored that they did so. They're internally, they understood the power of our niche and our directory, and that's just something that doesn't happen for us a lot. And I was like, this is amazing. Yes, I want to be a part of this. How can I help? And we're still in this very beginning stage where I'm like, hey, what do I need to do? How can I help? We just started the year. Like, what do we need to do? It's uncharted territory for us. But I'm glad we have another community home for individuals that are going down that route, because I believe this is a style community that is based off of both the love of our content and the how to create part. And I'm glad there's a home for people to get all the kind of unwritten rules and to get the information of like what it takes to do what you want to do inside of this space, and makes it a much safer space to do that. Early on in Twitch, there was a lot of different communities where if people came in and they had production questions, it's like, hey, this isn't the spot for that. We're enjoying the content at the moment. This is a whole other, how-to, video. But, that was when we didn't have a million YouTube videos of how to set up a multicam podcast. And when I got started, people did gatekeep that information. And they didn't let you know how to produce shows. We didn't have Elgato products.
2020 was the fucking Wild West. You were hoping and praying with your Logitech 720, and hey man, we're out here.
Yeah.
And if you don't have like the content creator brain, but you're like, I want to stream. I see like some of my favorite people stream. They just made partner. They're getting all these deals. I want to do that too. And it's just like, hey, sometimes I'm okay with talking about it whenever I'm like playing a game, because it, one, gets people talking, and two, like, I it's whatever.
It all depends on what you're doing at the moment of what makes it an acceptable conversation.
Oh yeah. If we're running a TTRPG game and you come in and you're like, hey, how did you do this? I'm not answering that question. I'm also not reading chat. I am GMing.
Yeah, there's very little interaction that you're getting to do. Most of the time you're trying to look at names and see the regulars and maybe see who's becoming a regular, and like just trying to say like hello, I love you, thanks for coming. You're basically, you are a Walmart greeter.
Yeah.
When you're doing that, you're like,
doing?
hey.
Yeah. If you have that pause, you're like a raid comes in. I've turned off my alerts for games. I turn them off.
Oh yeah,
but I still get the
alerts.
notification. Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane. That would be insanity.
Yeah, no. People who do that, I'm just like, I had that at first because I was just like, oh yeah, and then I was like, it's taking away from the storyline. It's taking away from everything. Yeah. So
yeah, you can't let people
off.
Disrupt your zen and the content. I may or may not get to acknowledge a friend. Usually I try to, because somebody else is talking or we're doing, who knows what kind of moment we're in. I will either try to text and talk and be like, hey, I love you, thank you for the raid. Or a lot of times we're just, all I can do is visualize. So I'll throw up some heart hands and be like, I see you. And like, sometimes that's the only way to get that.
I have a whole thing, like I have an automated shout out thing, and like I just type in the chat, I'm like, thank you so much for the raid. And I have like a whole command that's like D&D or like no ads or like no alerts.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Because I've also played a bunch of games where they're like, hey, you can't look at chat while you're doing this. Because I'm doing competitions. Because I'm doing like competitions, DayZ competitions. They're like, don't look at chat because people will spoil. And I'm like, okay, hey guys, no ads, no alerts.
Yeah.
FYI. Just to let you know.
And most of it, like these days, most people are trying to figure out what VTT I'm using because they see what's on stream, and I have the command, and I'm like, I'm very vocal of being a Foundry guy and have been for a long time. But I say, I give this with a grain of salt. Like, I'm using Foundry, but what you're seeing is a lifelong dedication to learning OBS and how to manipulate what you see as an audience. You will not have a stream that looks like this until you go down that road, and you're constantly going to be learning how to present yourself online. So I always say there is a lot of OBS manipulation that you're seeing. Do not beat yourself up over the fact that you can't just go and turnkey make an AP look like this.
No. I mean, even some of the bigger ones, they went through some hardships. If you go look back at old Critical Role campaign 1, whoo, buddy, they were
dude. Those are people that knew what they were doing, and that audio is atrocious.
Horrible, horrendous. No offense, guys. Would love to have you on, but
self-admitted
campaign 1.
It is worse.
That was Geek and Sundry too. Geek and Sundry knew what they were doing.
How could you not? You could have just got a snowball ice out there and done better than what.
As somebody who had a snowball in the beginning of their Twitch streaming days, best fucking mic. Loved it so much.
It got people so many through. Hey, the C920, the snowball, and if you were such a big baller to get a Yeti back then. Boy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Jeez. God, I mean, on the note of getting brands and everything like that, I mean, one of your biggest sponsors is Voodoo Ranger. I'm a big fan of their Juicy Haze, by the way.
Love it.
Love it. Good stuff. How did that connection start? I'm assuming because of your time in the business.
Yeah. That is why I'm still with them over this long haul of so many years. But that sponsorship exists because they were interested in creators first, and our program leader and our Meister Patrick is vehemently all about us and understood the space. That's the only way these things happen. And they didn't know me from anybody else. I spent the money and pooled all that stuff up to go to PAX East when I was still just a community member, when I found out some other friends were affiliating with it. So I wanted to have an online presence with beer as well, because at this point I'm in my, the business I was running was called Broadway Beer Garden. We did 60 different draft beers at the same time. I had been, a vendor relationship and a loving relationship with that brewery for a very long time. So this was like, oh man, dude, I want to get involved in the online space. And, at that point, it's what I was thinking. What I was doing was beginning like the first steps of like Anthony Bourdaining myself. That's what I thought, because this was before lockdown and all that. So I got involved just by being a community member. I showed up at one of their first events and we just talked shop. And obviously it's much easier for me to enter that space because of 2 decades of hospitality business. Immediately they were like, oh, well, this guy already knows how to do this. So that's when you seek out those perfect relationships. That's one of them. And this is what I always say. If it doesn't feel like that, man, at this point, it's so hard to get these, and some of them are so little. Find what your North Star is and what you actually care about. Don't spend time, peddling stuff to peddle stuff, because at the end of the day, our life is just way too short, and everybody's fed way too many ads, and, marketing gets to a point where it's the death of us all. You need to find some sort of balance. Find those things that you love and that you want to share with people. And, hopefully you can make a working relationship with that. That's not always the case, because business is business and it's hard. We lost a lot of our creators because the Asheville brewery literally was destroyed and went underwater. And you have to come to terms. There was a lot of people that had long-term sponsorships with them, but their production is gone. There's all these people that have lost their jobs. Put that into perspective versus your stipend. Those are things that are totally out of your control. So find the things that you love. Try to find, when it comes to it, try to find people that are passionate about cultivating that space of creators. That's what makes great partnerships, and that's what makes the long-term ones tick. That's not always the case. But for me, a lot of times, I really, because of myself in the bar business, I really like being a self-support, like user-based community first, and then whatever you get is icing on the cake that comes from that. That's just personally how I handle it, because I'm not taking stuff that, especially these days, you really need to understand where you're taking the money from and why they're giving you money. And you need to be comfortable with that. If you are taking a mobile game sponsorship that relies heavily on microtransactions and a gambling aspect, you need to be comfortable with the fact they're giving you that money because they know that they can 3, 4, 5x that out of your community. And that's where that money's coming from. And you need to be comfortable with the fact, can I live with that? Is that my legacy of, putting this impression onto people? You can always say, hey man, do whatever you're gonna do. Hey, I'm not responsible for this. Yes, yeah, you are, man. You are responsible for that. Whether you want to believe that or not, the once you start holding an audience, you start becoming impressionable to people. And I challenge everybody, if your audience was your nephew or niece or children or a young impressionable mind at a library, would you do this? And I think that's a great North Star to think of when you accept things, because it's tough, especially now when it's like, I understand you need to eat. Everybody, like, it's the hardest time ever to just live. So you know what? If you got to do that, be comfortable in saying, I gotta do this. And then put the guardrails up and tell you, I'm exposing you to something potentially very addictive, and like have the real conversation. As long as you have the real conversation, do your thing. But it is a wild world. And remember, people that are flashing money in front of you want something from you, and you have something they want. And you need to understand that transaction very clearly.
Yeah, very much so. Because, like, I will say this right now, as somebody who's an adult, a full-ass adult, anytime there's, like, a younger person, or, like, whenever I used to play Fortnite, kids used to come into my chat, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I am no one's idol. I cuss. I swear. Yeah. Before the pandemic, I was working in a bar as a drag queen. I used to take my clothes off on stage. Kids, I am not to be idolized.
Yeah. It's setting expectations.
I used to smoke a lot. I used to drink a lot. Trust me. I'm setting expectations. I am not the person that you want to look up to.
Yeah. And those are the conversations that you have to have with the community that you cultivate, because there's a big difference from having an adult community where you take a gambling sponsorship versus one where you're playing, Fortnite, Minecraft, children games where you actively have them in. I love Minecraft,
but I'm also like, hey guys, I'm not your cozy streamer.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I'm no.
Yeah.
Don't come in here with expectations.
I'm here because I'm an adult that wants to play with Legos.
I need whimsy, goddammit. Let me have whimsy.
I love that.
That's why I play D&D. I play some Minecraft. Let me have some whimsy.
And nuance. And that's what's so difficult about living in the world online is people don't want to believe in nuance and how we are all have crazy dualities and everything is not white and black. It is a massive sea of gray and trying to understand things, and that's difficult for individuals.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. So I had known you online because of your streams, but I didn't meet you until LobbyConning. I think it was PAX East last year that we finally got to meet.
Yeah, when we were in the same room for longer than like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd been in a lot of the same spaces and like pew, 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 how it goes. But yeah, we got to really LobbyCon strong at East last time, which is awesome.
Yeah. I refer to you as my plug because of my look. Robear will have the hat and a cooler, a carryable cooler full of Voodoo Ranger. And I'm like, he's my after hours plug. Once the bar closes down, I know where to get some beer if I want it. Or the twisted tea. I drink a lot of twisted tea at Unplugged.
Yeah, the hard charge tea from Voodoo. I love it, but it is getting so hard to get in some zones. I have to do the amount of work I have to do these days to keep that bag full of like trying to make sure that these places have what I want. Total Wine is my best friend, but if we're not in a place that has Total Wine, we're doing a lot of like, when I land, I immediately start my shopping trip of like, to pack the room. And,
oh my goodness. I wonder what the distribution looks like now that they're missing one of their distribution plants, like what the distribution at States look like.
It's tighter. It's tighter for the core brands because that was like an overflow of making the most popular products.
That's probably like the East Coast overflow distribution and everything 100%. Like that. Oh my gosh. And then Fort Collins is like south and like west. So,
yeah.
Hi, I know things.
This whole LobbyCon was born out of hotel bars really not coming online after the pandemic. Because a lot of these conventions, man, the West and the East used to be the end-all be-all. It had meetings all day, and then it was a party all night. And then after the pandemic, these hotel bars just did not come back onto their capacity that they were before. But we have this small city of people that are all trying to enjoy each other's company. We don't have enough hospitality to fill all of it. So the bag of colding came about because we wanted to continue to hang out with our friends, which we only see once or twice a year, if we're lucky, inside of the convention circuit, that they can even afford to be there. So it was like, okay, after the hotel bar stopped serving, I'm going to go and grab this bag and we're going to hang out as long as we want to hang out. And, that
and the fact that you actually pay attention, you're like, okay, the bar is closing or closed. I will not bring this bag until it's closing or closed. It tells a lot about you. You're like, I'm still in this mindset of we are all in this together.
We are all in this together. We are not yucking anybody else's yum. And man, when people are like, where is it? I go, dude, they're still in service.
Yeah. Go get some beer.
You can still go get some. Don't worry. Mine is going to be there. Sorry, you're going to have to stay up later.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Which is not even late anymore because these hotel bars close at like 10 o'clock at night now.
Yeah. The Westin closed so early on Saturday last year. I looked at my phone. I was like, It's 11 p.m. What the hell?
Here's what's wild.
What?
I haven't done a shot at a convention in years now because there aren't bartenders to go and line up 12 shots for like your friends. Like, it's crazy because that service just doesn't exist because they have so many people trying to get a drink. They can't even get to you with trying to do,
They have like
service a group.
They probably have like all of 2 bartenders and a bar back at those bars.
Yeah.
So be patient. One.
Yeah, be patient.
Be patient.
Be respectful.
Or just find a hole. Just find a hole, people. It's like being at the club. Just find a hole somewhere. Just like, all right.
But that's what's unfortunate because people don't know bar etiquette and we're aging out and we have all of it, but they don't, and it's not their fault because they don't have the institutions that we grew up with and where we learned, how to act. And so now I see a lot of really, really poor behavior, but I'm like, they had no place to learn. So at the same time, it's like, man.
Especially the ones that were like graduating high school or like graduating college or something like that. In that in between during the pandemic, they didn't have a bar to go to.
They didn't have them to go to.
So like they turned 21 and it's just like.
Yeah. And a lot of them,
fun, kids.
They just didn't. We use these as third spaces.
Yeah.
This is where we met our friends at and relationships. And when you go generations underneath us, they don't have that, and they didn't have that connection. They've come from app culture and 100% online communities. So a lot of times they're a babe in the woods, dropped into the bar. The first D&D party a couple of years back, where they had all the creators. I was laughing because of how many times I was bumped into and had drinks spilled all over me because it was a bunch of people that hadn't been in a closed space. And I was just laughing. I was like, they've just never been. They've just never been.
I will say this, Twitch at their Twitch parties has, I don't have it on me, or do I? They've given out drink covers now. Like as a scrunchie.
Yes.
Love that. I will always tell people to get one of those. I got one of those at PAX East last year, or was it TwitchCon? I can't remember. It might have been one of those. But yeah, I carry that on me. If somebody wants a drink cover, I'm like, here you go.
Yes.
Hey, Twitch, if you want to send me drink covers, I will take them to PAX East.
If you don't have one of those, just throw it away. Do not take the risk.
Or if you're walking around, if you're coming from the bar, or if you're walking around, do the claw. Do the claw, kids. This is your old millennials telling you how to look. We were at the bar in 2008. I was in Germany. In my 20s for like a couple of years. I know how to drink. I was in the military for a couple of years, y'all. I know how to drink. Y'all want some tips?
So we had
always get something with soda.
Oh God, those Radlers are to die for.
Love a Radler. Love a Radler.
So we were Broadway Beer Garden. Mm-hmm. I had 30 import taps from all over Germany. So I had everything from Ufbrau, from Weinstefner. Oh my God, when we would get stuff from Augustiner and we would I miss being able to go down and fill up a jug. I just take my milk jug and go down and get Hefeweizen and then just make a Radler on a Sunday. Sit out and porch drink here in the Upland South and just soak it up. I miss
proper Radler. God, the Germans listening to this one like, great approach, bad container. Love the approach, bad container.
When you're a millennial and you have a growler that nobody knows what you do with that anymore, they're like, what is that aluminum or glass thing you have over there? And it's like, kids, we used to go down the store and go get ourselves some fresh beer.
Man, oh God.
Life was simpler for a minute.
God, I miss 2010 sometimes.
Who knew we would peak? Who knew we were peaking at that moment as a society?
2018. Peak 2018 beer drinking culture. Well, this is the part of the podcast where I say plug your shit. Let the people know.
Hey, you can find me at Captain Robear at everything. I'm playing long-form campaigns with your favorite creators all throughout the week. Come by and say hello. I'm that on all platforms. And hey, it's 2026. Be good to each other.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Be good to everyone. Well, thank you for being on the podcast. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I am honored always to get to have a conversation. I can do these things all night. So thank you so much. It is so much fun to just talk with my friends and peers. So thank you.
Let's go. Well, you can find all of Robear's links down below. Speaking of finding people on the internet, you can find me everywhere on the internet at Shelly Von Miller, because branding is important, kids. If that's one thing I can pass to you, brand yourself. Digitally. Be searchable. SEO, kids. SEO. Speaking of that, you can find me over on Patreon as well, where we're going to go record the lovely episode of Table Sets, the Patreon exclusive segment for paid members. If you want to drop me some dollars, paid tiers start at $7 a month. And if you want all the content, you can have it all, darling, for $25 a month. Look, I'm a cheap bitch. I'm a cheap date. You can come find me. But with that being said, I love you guys very much, and I will see you on the internet. Goodbye.